Alright guys, so back again, another day in what we're calling it, social distancing and all of that kind of thing. So yeah, so here it is. This is my new tank. So everything that is inside it was already inside my Aquariums for Life 1000 litre tank. And what I've done is I've moved everything that's inside it into this Red Sea Reefer XXL, I think it's the 525. What happened was I had to move, so I needed to get a tank straight away, so it had to be really the one that I could get here the quickest and the one that I could fit in the room. I've got to say, like, I'm really impressed with these Red Sea tanks. Really nice tank. So let's have a little look. I've got loads of work to still do on this, and this wasn't kind of the way that I wanted to introduce it, but obviously with the way things are at the moment, I'm just going to keep getting some content out there. So I thought, you know what, I've got to do loads, so I'll just take you with me, and then tomorrow or the next day I'll have an update on the reef habitat, because it's got fish in it. So yeah, and probably fish you wouldn't actually have thought that I'd put in it. So okay, let's have a little look at this Red Sea Reefer. Okay guys, and what I've got is I've got as much footage as I could collect over moving this and then getting this set up. So I'm going to try and slot that into this video in different parts. So maybe I'll try and do like a little voiceover or something and see how it works. Okay, first thing, I was really lucky to have my friend help me put this together. He'd already put one together before, so he kind of knew what he was doing, which was good. I can't thank Paraquatics enough for delivering the tank, because they are massive. And yeah, I've just used outdoor hanging basket brackets just to hang my lights. So I think it's a good idea to make sure you hang it all in the right place before you put water in it, and then you can take it off so it's not in the way. Because once it's got water in it, you don't want to be dangling over the top of it, because it's just going to spell disaster, isn't it? This is the sump. Really big sumps. Really impressed with how much room there is. And it's really nice actually having the dry side as well, I've got to say, because I didn't have that with my old tank. I had to have a cupboard to put all my calcium reactor and everything in. So having an actual dedicated dry cupboard is underneath the tank is obviously more space saving as well, so that's really good. Hey, what's up? Okay, so today's the day that I've taken the plunge and I'm gonna move most of my tank and everything like that. So as you can see, the tank is set up behind me. I've moved the lights over, I've got them on a bracket. Tank's looking really good. I'm just giving it a bit of a clean out. And what I've also done is install the power bars and what have you. I'll just show you. Okay, yeah, so the tank's looking really good. I've installed all the light fixtures that can be easily raised. So looking inside, so I've managed to install the Apex power bar there. So I'm going to try and run it as effectively as possible. So I'm going to put a manifold off of the return pump. I really want to cut down on the amount of plugs and things that are being used. I did install a little light in here. There you go. It doesn't really do that much, but there you go. So yeah, so I've managed to get my skimmer in, and what was really nice is like this skimmer is absolutely huge, but the sumps on these are really big, because I thought I was only going to be able to use the, you can change this baffle and you can move it here. There's another little indent here, so you have a sort of a smaller refugium section, but actually I could keep it still with the larger area, which is really good, because I'm actually thinking about changing to Triton for this, just because it is a slightly smaller system, and I was running low on certain elements, and I think I'd like to concentrate more on the colour of the corals rather than getting the growth. I think the calcium reactor is amazing for growth, but then of course the bigger the corals are, the colonies, they they take up more nutrients, then you've got to be adding so many. So here we go. So I've laid all my towels down. Now I'm gonna have to start moving everything over. So yeah, this should be a fun day. So here's all the dry goods that I had to sort out. And yeah, so this was moving day, so getting everything ready just to empty it, boxing everything up. I mean, it just took hours trying to sort everything out. I did a little bit of it the day before. I sorted out all the dry goods and like the light and stuff like that, and took out the skimmer. I run it on bare minimal for the day before that I moved everything out of the tank, just so that I could set it all up on the new tank. I thought that was the best answer. And then thankfully, Paraquatics, Gary, was an absolute star. He came with lots of barrels and drums to put water in. I had some 60-litre drums. So yeah, so it was awful, but it wasn't like impossible. I'm not sure it's something I'd want to do again in a hurry. But yeah, I mean, it's done. I got some amazing shots just in the natural light. This tank, I hadn't seen the corals. I thought they looked really lovely just with the ambient light in the room. And that was me. It was about 3 o'clock in the morning. I couldn't even face putting the net together, so I just plonked it on the top and just made sure everything was alive. Okay, so I apologise if you can hear things bubbling around. I've got quite a lot going on in this small space. So yeah, cable management, that's one thing that needs to be massively sorted out. I've got my magnetic rock here that I've had for 100 years, which has got some good coral growth, and that moved over okay. Everything's looking really good on that. I've got my MP40 on this end, and then I've got one of my LAD frag racks at the back there, and then as you can see, he's now in with the other tangs. In fact, he's looking so much better. He's so much brighter in colour. He is looking really good compared to the state that he was in, and yeah, they seem to be all getting on very, very well. This coral here, the Hystrix, is looking massive, and as you can see, the one thing I didn't say was that I actually didn't move over my soft corals. I gave them to Paraquatics. My friend shut down his tank, so we sort of did a bit of fish swapping. So basically, because I haven't moved the sand in this tank, so this is a bare bottom, I had to be a bit careful with some of the wrasse and things that they weren't able to come along. Everything's doing really well considering the way I had to move it. Some things did take a little bit of a beating, but then they've definitely bounced back. As you can see, I'm still absolutely plagued by this. Oh, it's such a show off, this fish. By this green, well, purple star polyp stuff. He's looking amazing. So he was in my frag tank, the tahini tang. So there's a lot of fish going on. It's the same length, this tank. It's 5 foot. But yeah, I mean, everything's definitely settling in okay. I've got a little bit of RTN in here, and I'm not sure whether that's light or due to the fact that my calcium reactor is playing up a little bit. I need to sort that out today because a lot of the media's gotten used up. All the clownfish seem to be getting on well. My John Deere has got lots of growth on it. Unfortunately, all these loose ones at the bottom, you can see here, took a bit of a beating because my eel managed to knock them all over and into my gold hammer, and I literally had to pick them out of the gold hammer. They'd stuck to all these. He's got some really long sweeping tentacles going on here, and literally I had to pull them off. So that is the reason why these guys are now not looking so good. But my plan now is to move some of these corals into the reef habitat. The hammer corals have taken on a life of their own. I mean, literally, they are just multiplying left, right and centre. Like you can see here, there's more new buds growing, which is great, but I've got a lot of new growth, and they're all sort of starting to sting each other. As you can see, like these aren't opening because it's blown into there. And what I'd like to do is have this mainly dominated as an SPS tank, but this purple star polyps has just completely taken over. You can see it's just coming in between. I mean, they're just pallies that I wasn't too keen on anyway, but it's really taking over, and you can see it's coming into there. So today's job is going to be to pick out some of this, but I've got massive amounts of growth on some of these millies as well. Like, I mean, they were just one stick 3 months ago, and yeah, it's insane to see. So yeah, I've got to say, overall I'm really pleased with the way everything's moved. My plan, well, was going to be to have another tank made at some point, and that still might be the plan, you know. Let's not rule anything out. Got another MP40 there. I've got some frags that I need to stick down. I mean, it's still pretty much in a state of everything got piled in, so I left it be for a little bit. But I've got to say, these Red Sea tanks are pretty sweet. So I've still got the same light fixture that I was using. I've just got it attached to the wall here. It's 3 radians and then 4 T5 bulbs, and one that I've not actually turned on yet, so I probably should turn that on. It's got 3 doors. So like I say, it's 5 foot long. I mean, it is massive, and it is looking really nice. I really need to get in there and do lots of stuff. Look in here. So I've got my spare AI Prime in the refugium section here. As you can see, it's all greened up. I've got my Roa Phos in here, my Quantum skimmer at the back there, which you can just about make out. I've just let the leads come out the bottom here for time being, because it's all been well, we all know we've got lots going on. You've got your ATO reservoir, and I've just let that empty now so that I can get in there, and I need to start moving things around. I've got a clownfish in prison here because this one was getting properly beaten up by the other clownfish, so he likes to hang out in the cup section rather than swim out to the refugium for some reason. But there we go. Hopefully I'll be able to introduce him back at some stage. I've got some blocks there, marine spec blocks, I think that's what they're called. I do have my dosing trace elements ready to go there, although the dosing pump is not in yet. I have my calcium reactor effluent here, which when I lift it up stops dripping, so I'll put it back down. As you can see, it is, I think it needs unblocking, because it's really, it goes through fits and starts where it's really gushing out, and then it seems like it's all blocked up again. So this is what I've got to do today, because as you can see, look, that is not doing much at all, because it should be, oh there we go, see, and then it just spits out loads more. So I need to sort that out, probably need to sort the pump out. That's the Comore FXSTP, but I think it's probably more likely all the little bits of calcium reactor media that's blocking it. In here I've got all my Neptune Apex probes at the back there, trying to keep them in the dark so they don't grow any algae on them. I've put in a little light, but typically it ran out of batteries because I left it on one day, and around here you can't get batteries for love nor money because everyone's taken them out of the shops. And in this one here, got my calcium reactor, and as you can see, I'm really, well, it doesn't look like I'm running low, but it really should be up to about here. So as you can see, look at that, all of that reactor media there in the bubble counter needs all sorting out. I think I need to replace the fire extinguisher as well because I think that's running low. I've got all my trace elements in there, so I've got my work cut out for me today. I've got my plugs. As you can see, I need to put them all, well, I need to tidy it all up, don't I? It's an absolute mess. But luckily I've got the time to do it. I've got some more plugs in there. And then round the back here, it's spaghetti junction. So I can put all of this on the wall. There's my Camor FX STP. And as you can see, it's spinning like crazy, but as you saw, not much is coming out. So that's really just a quick little look at this tank as the state that it's in now. But considering it's just been moved, everything is not doing too bad at all, really. I really do like these tanks, really easy to use. The one thing I would say is hate's a strong word, but I absolutely hated the Red Sea lid that I got. I made it and it took me hours to do, and I couldn't get the mesh in, and I think one of the support bits I'd cut a little bit too small, so it wobbled about, and I found it just an absolute nightmare. But the guys over at LAD made me this really lovely fitted lid for it, so yeah, big shout out to them because it fits this tank perfectly. There's my auto feeder just going in there. There's their little shark logo there. But yeah, I think it makes it look quite cool, doesn't it? Yeah. Alright, so as you can see, like, I've got my work cut out for me. I'm definitely not going to be bored. I've got to sort out all the wires. I've got to sort out this calcium reactor to make sure that it's dosing enough calcium, alkalinity, magnesium and all that stuff. I need to set up my dosing pumps for my trace elements. So I've got lots and lots and lots to keep me occupied over the next couple of weeks or so. So yeah, stay tuned. Like I say, my next video will be back on the reef habitat, and I'll probably swing from one to the other to the other. Yeah, so adding fish to the reef habitat, and that's going to be really, it's going to be quite unexpected, the fish that I've put in there. And yeah, I better crack on with what I've got to do on this tank today.